Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another segment of Poetry and Perspective with Placide. I am your kind hostess, Cindy Placide. Now, please give me a minute. As usual, let me make sure that my Facebook listeners and viewers can see me. So give me just about 1 minute, okay? Is everyone doing okay today? I hope everyone is doing absolutely fabulous. Okay, so we are on live. Yes, guys. Welcome to Poetry and Perspective with Placide. I am your kind hostess, Cindy Placide. For the benefit of those of you who have not seen my show, who have not been on, I am from the beautiful, beautiful Caribbean island of St. Lucia. So I give a big shout out to all my people from St. Lucia, from Vieux-Fort, Castries, Soufrière, everywhere, and from all my Caribbean counterparts, all my Caribbean islands, and also from people all around the world who are watching me, Africa, particularly Ghana, Nigeria, those in Haiti who are watching me, those in Asia, those in the UK, in Canada. I welcome all of you to Poetry and Perspective with Placide, people from all over the world who have taken a liking to my show and who have been watching my show. St. Vincent, Jamaica, Martinique, my family, Martinique, Grenada, all over. Welcome to Poetry and Perspective with Placide, okay? So, guys, it is always a pleasure to have you here on the show. It is always a pleasure to be in your audience and to share with you the different conversations and the input and the insights and the experiences of our guests. Tonight, we are going to have a very special guest. But before I continue, let me say that I am first a woman, a mother. I consider myself confident Cindy Placid, okay? And I have authored 3 books. I'm a 3-time published author. My first book is entitled, let me see if I can pull it up for you. My first book is entitled When Life Stood in Silence. And this book was born from my grief, from my loss, from all the experiences, from the bouts of suicide and everything that I had. I put all of my emotions in that book. The second book is an uprising from all of that turmoil, and to find, myself, find my confidence, find out who I am. And this, I came up with A Mighty Calm, okay? And this book is a very powerful for anybody who wants to find themselves, anybody who wants to find the confidence and to build themselves up and to be motivated and empowered. This book is for you. And also my third book, entitled What the Skies Told Me. It is a book of reflection, guys. It is a place I finally found myself, found who I am, and to be able to share my healing and my journey with everybody else. So this is what my third book is all about. I am also an advocate. I'm advocating for so many different causes, but my main cause are mental health and suicide, of course, autism and dwarfism, because why? And also domestic violence. Why? I suffer with mental illness. My mental health is always, on the up and down. So I advocate for that. And I advocate for domestic violence. I'm a product of domestic violence. I advocate for pregnancy and child loss. I also I advocate for, of course, autism, which you're going to hear about tonight. And I bring awareness to a host of other things. So I used to call myself a Jackie of all trades, but I know my niche now and I know what I want to do. So I know what I want to do, and that is to motivate, empower, and to bring to light the experiences that people are going through. Okay, guys? So let me tell you, Poetry and Perspective of Placide serve as a way to educate and to promote people of like minds, from upcoming to established poets, authors, writers, artists, and entrepreneurs, to those who just want to tell a story. Okay. Now, our mission here on this show allows guests voices to be heard. A lot of us have a lot of things to say. A lot of our traumas, a lot of our things that has happened to us, and we need a safe space to say without being judged. This is what poetry and perspective is all about. Sorry, I said perspective. It's perspective is all about. To honestly and respectfully tell our stories, intending to inspire, to motivate, and empower others through shared experiences. Now, I have a one rule of thumb, strict rule. We do not discuss politics and religion on this show. Everything has its time and place, and this platform is not the place for that. Now, it's okay if you say, God has helped me that, with this and that, but it's not okay to go into the in depth of religion. This is a drama free zone, guys. No harsh, explicit, or foul language. We want this to be educational. And I want my show to be where little children can go back and look at it and be educated and be free to just be able to look at my show without having too many explicit stuff there. Okay? So now let's get to the nitty-gritty of things. Are you with me, guys? As you see, I'm wearing my blue. This month is Autism Awareness Month. Okay? Now, as I said before, I advocate for so many things, but things that dear to my heart is autism, mental health, suicide, and domestic violence, and of course, do I forget dwarfism? Yes. So tonight, my guest tonight, usually I make a plea to men to come on my show. I'm a woman, and but I have two sons, and they may grow up one day and have similar situations that men do. I cannot protect them from everything. But because I have a child with autism, okay, I want to hear what parents have to say about autism because I'm passionate about it. And tonight, our guest is here and he is going to give us his own experiences. So please welcome my guest, Mr. Wayne Joyce. Hello, my friend.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Please say hello to our viewers.
Hello, everybody. My name is Albert Joyce. First off, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. Um, my name is Albert Joyce. People call me AJ for short. I also go by Wayne Joyce because Wayne is also considered my middle name. Um, so a little about me, right? So I was born on July 17, 1990. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Uh, Grew up having a simple, normal childhood. Went to school, hung out with friends, did everything that a normal child would do. Um, see, at 2011, I was married. Come August of 2013, I had my first child. That was a boy, and I named him Timothy. Um, my son, at the age of 2, was diagnosed with autism,
Wow.
and
So
when
before you
that
continue with that,
yep,
I don't want you to say too much yet because we want to take the viewers into your life and everything because we want people to get a feel of you first before we can tell them about your story. Okay, so you were raised in Atlanta, Georgia. What was life like before becoming a father?
um, I I would say that I think life was, I want to say, simple, like living a normal life. Getting up every morning, um, taking care of business, whether it could be going to work or finding things to do on the weekends, on your days off, to hang out with friends, family, um, find things to do, right? Um, Even when I also say that as a parent, you want to do things with your kids, take them here and take them there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But things changed when you know um, you find out that your child has autism,
Mhm.
and it's a little different, and it's a little bit more hard.
Yes. So okay. So let's stop a minute for a minute. Let me just turn it down. I am going to say hello to our guests. I usually do that to our viewers. So I Miss Aya Danielle. Welcome. She's watching all the way from Canada. Okay, so we have people from everywhere watching us. We also have Miss Modest Graham Martha. She's watching. Andrew Hayes is watching. And I just want to say welcome to all of my people from all over who are kind enough to watch my show. Okay. So AJ, I'm gonna call you AJ because that's I like that AJ. I like that AJ. Yes,
Everybody does.
yes, yes. So AJ, how did we meet? Okay, could you tell the viewers how we met?
Okay, so this is how we met. So what I also do on the side when I'm not working at my job, I do Uber. Um, One day I got an Uber request to go to the airport, and when I arrived, I ran to this nice lady right here that I'm talking to right now, and I was driving her to her home, and we went to talking about how the day was, and somehow down the line we ended up getting on the subject about autism, and from there it just took off from there.
Yes. So as you know, guys, I don't know any stranger. I'm a people's person. I don't know who you were. I will speak to you. I will start a conversation with somebody. So this is how I met him. And the funny story is about this is that AJ, they had already seen me like about two other Uber drivers, two other Uber drivers, and you got lost because I had the wrong address. But I thank God that that day that you were there, you came. You were very patient. You looked for me, and I
Oh,
appreciated that. You know, and you were very kind, and you made sure that I got in the car. But you were just a nice person, and I'm drawn to kindness. I'm drawn to people who just show a genuine interest in you and just don't want to just do the job. So that's how I met him, and we started to talk. And when he told me his story, I said to him, "Oh my goodness, I have got to get you on my show." And I said, "Would you be willing to tell your story about your son?" So here we are tonight. Okay. So, guys, listen. We have talked a lot. I have gone around in circles because I want you to get the gist of why I really am going around, because I want AJ to tell you guys his story and for you to really get the gist of what is happening. So, okay, so we have talked about you had your child. So, do you have just one child or two children?
uh, I have two children. I have two kids.
Okay, yes. So, when did you first notice that your child had autism, and when did the diagnosis come in?
So my wife, me and my wife's, and when he started to turn 1 years old, when he
Mhm.
turned 1 years old, my wife was, looking at my son one day watching TV, and she realized that, his coordination was not set on one thing. He was looking everywhere else. And my wife said, something's off, something's not right. And I said, well, babe, he's still he's 1 year old, he's exploring. But still deep down, my wife said something's not right. So from there, she went to his primary doctor several times and said, I think he needs to get diagnosed. I think he has autism. Because my wife says she knew the signs as she was growing up. She lived in a house with autism kids, right?
Mhm.
And she knew the signs. By the time that he turned two, that's when they decided to do the diagnose test, because my wife asked several times to do it and they finally did it. And that's when they come to realize that he did have signs of autism.
Wow. Wow. So how when you since you had noticed that, now you as a father, you had not known about autism, you had not experienced it before. What was that diagnosis like for you personally?
Well, as a parent, and the first time that I've ever experienced autism, and and keep in mind, right, when I was growing up, going to school, um, I went to school with kids my own age at the time that had disabilities, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know nothing about autism at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
learning this, for the first time, it was a game changer for me. It was a different challenge. At the time, when I first found out he was diagnosed with autism, I didn't know how much it was going to change my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a true and valid statement. Personally, I had never heard of autism before. So I realized that my son had something was like the mom said something was going on, something was not right because I have an older child and he was like about 12 years old. So when the second child came, I'm going like something is not right. So I realized that he started to regress. He started to regress. The things that he used to be able to do, he couldn't do it anymore. It was just like a totally different child. So I kept telling the doctor there's something wrong with my son. And then, oh no, he's just normal growing up. So I personally had to take it upon myself. I said, you know what? There's something going on with my son. So I told him that for almost a whole year. When I couldn't take it anymore, I said something was going on. I called him and I said, I made an appointment and I said, my child is sick. Okay. And I went into that doctor's office and he said, what is going on? I said, nothing is wrong. I said, he is not speaking, he's regressing. Something is wrong with my child, and I'm not leaving your office until you tell me what's wrong with my child. And
Yep.
so he took his time now and he evaluated him a little bit. And then he said, I'm going to refer you to this speech therapist. And it was the speech therapist who told me, your son, your son shows signs of autism. I'm going, what is autism? And it was when I went to his psychologist that I got a better understanding of what it was. So I understood where you were, at that time. And it's hard for us parents to hear that our child is diagnosed with autism. So what was your initial after you had all of these emotions and whatnot? What was your next action that you wanted you thought of taking for your child?
Well, so once we figured out that he had autism, um, the next steps were, of course, you know, dig up some information, like what is actually autism. Because again, and going back to as a parent, when a doctor tells your son is diagnosed with autism, or your child is diagnosed with autism, they give you a like an example or a definition of what autism is, but they don't really go into depth of what what it really does and how it changes your life, right? So
Mm-hmm.
again, when I first found out, when me and my wife first found out, we had to do some digging, we had to do some research. We went on Facebook. We found out there are plenty of groups, autism groups that they're giving us that were giving us information every day, telling us what they were going through as an autism parent. um, Listening to their stories, saying that, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm going through with my child. Some parents, some autism parents had it okay. Some had it good. Some had it bad. Um, for me and for my wife, we didn't know if we were going to have it good, okay, or bad. Um, over the
Was
years.
that scary for you?
Uh, y- yes, in a way, it was. It was scary for me and my wife because as our son got older, we realized that his behavior started to progress.
You mean
Uh,
progress negatively
yes,
or okay? So what was the most
negative.
wow? Whew,
Yes.
I'm getting like you saying that and I'm just getting like a little anxious because I I know what that's like, you know? So with that statement, I'm gonna ask you what was the most significant challenge that you had with your son?
The most. I'm gonna talk about it though, but it's kind of hard to actually talk about it without really getting emotional over it though.
Just take your
But I
time.
told myself I am gonna take a. I said I am gonna talk about it.
Yes.
The hard challenge was, um, I will say this before I go into depth with it. Right,
Mm-hmm.
my son also he does what doctors call elope. Elope is a term for running off. With my son had a real bad habit of getting out the house and running out the house. Somehow, some way, he was finding a way to get out my house. So, um, it started in 2018 when I came home from work one day. Kids were out of school. It was summertime. At the time, I was working a night shift from 12 to 8. So I got home around 9 o'clock, came through the front door. My wife at the time was up. She just got done cooking breakfast and she said, um, my son Timothy, he is asleep. I said, okay, I'm going to lay down and take a nap. All the doors were locked. He was in his room asleep. My wife, she laid back down and went back to sleep as well because she woke up early in the morning around 5 o'clock in the morning. So she was tired. We would probably sleep for about maybe 11 o'clock, for about maybe 3 hours. Around 11 o'clock, 11:30 in the morning, um, we get a knock on the door. My wife, she gets up, answers the front door. Well, it was our neighbors that live in our neighborhood. And when she answered the door, they my son Timothy was with my neighbors outside my house. So when my wife woke me up and I'm seeing my son outside my house and they're telling me that they found him outside in the street, wandering around the street, I was like, how did he get outside? Because all my doors are locked up. And I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe one of my doors was unlocked. And no, everything was locked up. Well, my neighbors walked around my house and they said, hey, we know how he got out. He kicked he kicked his window open and he escaped from the house like that. So from there, that was the first time. And then we thought, okay, maybe it was a one time thing. It wasn't. It was constant kicking out the windows over and over again. It got to the point that the police got involved to where they got involved and they were trying to figure out how was this happening. Of course, they found out that he was kicking out the windows. Then from there, it went from the police to where DFAS got involved, to where DFAS had to get involved. And it's just been hard, since then.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
What
yeah.
was the most what was the most trying time that happened? I know you told me something. I don't know if you want to share. If you don't want to share, that's okay.
I will.
But
I will.
what was the most trying time
The
for
so the most trying time was after we got the whole situation resolved to where he wasn't escaping out the windows. Well, he started to um, find a way to go out the door to where he would get my keys out the drawer or find a way to get into my safe and get my keys, unlock the door, and go out the door. Again, this is a no, this is a, no, no, this is a child at the age of 9, 10, 11 years old escaping out your house, and you're you're telling yourself what the world is going on. Like even to that day, I was like, I don't know what to do because I felt like my back was up against the corner. So every time when he ran off, I had to call the police to try to go find him because at this point I don't know where he is, and this is being done in the middle of the night while everybody is asleep. So the last time that this happened was back in February of 2024, where I came home from work Saturday night. I worked a 16-hour shift. When I came home, I put my keys up, locked everything up. I put my keys in a lockbox and made sure it was locked, and I went to sleep. Around 11 o'clock, my daughter woke up, told me that the front door was open and my son had left the house. I called 911. The police searched for him and found him on the expressway. When they did find him on the expressway, he was sadly hit by a car, but he made it. When the police told me they found him and he was hit by a car, they said they're gonna take him down to the hospital to get to get evaluated to see if everything's okay with him. I was taking my wife and my daughter in the car, getting ready to go. The police come back to my house and they arrest me. And I was sitting in jail for 4 days, all because of what happened to my son.
Whew, give me a minute.
And yeah, yeah, yeah.
As an autism parent, you know how much that is touching me, right? Because I had a similar situation with my son. I had a similar situation. He ran out the door. I pulled the chair that day, distinctive, and it's almost like they know when to just get out. And it's almost like they have a time. I remember that day he was I was my blood pressure was up because I had not slept the night before. My blood pressure was really high. And I put a sofa at the back of my door. I'm a single parent. I put a sofa at the back of my door. And I put a chain on my door. And for a moment, I dozed off. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Austell Road in Marietta.
Yes, yes,
That's a busy street. And
yes,
when I got up, he was gone. Now, mind you, I was in my 90s without shoes in my feet. And, my breast was just like right everywhere. I run out the road. I run out my house. I'm like, where is Noah? Oh my gosh. I could see. I went to the office, went everywhere. He was not there. And I met somebody and said, "Did you see a little boy running?" They said, "We saw him run across the street." My heart went like down. I thought I was gonna die. When I went across the street, he was not there. I thought I was gonna get a heart attack that day. They told me somebody picked him up. I didn't know who it was. He ran up to of the bus stop because he's used to us going to the bus stop. Apparently, it was before the bus. He went to the bus stop. I think it was about 5 years that then 5 or 6, and somebody took him to the hospital. I could never thank God enough. So at least he was not hit, but your baby got hit by a vehicle, and it's a parent's worst nightmare to
Yeah.
have their child out there and you don't know where your child is, especially a non-verbal child who does not know danger.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm crying. So I feel your pain. I
You're
understand
fine.
because it brings back so many sad memories. But continue. So
Yes, ma'am.
how are you feeling? How are you feeling? I know you said it was me who got emotional, not you.
Yeah.
So
Uh.
what did they what I mean, what reason did they have for arresting you? Okay, I know Deepak was involved, and I know you must have explained to them. What was the reason for detaining you for
Yes.
4 days?
Well. Well. So when the officer locked me up, of course, I asked him. I said, "What are you arresting me for?" He told me that he was arresting me for cruelty to children, and that falls under the second degree felony. Yeah,
How is it cruelty to children?
right. And I said, cruelty to children. I said, sir, I've done nothing to my child. I never hit him. I never abused him. I never did anything to him except try to keep him safe and show him as much love as I possibly can. And you're sending me to jail because of child cruelty, because my son escaped out the house and he got hit by a car. Now I'm going to jail. I said, out
So
of all these years,
go ahead. I'm listening to you because I have a question to ask you that's very important.
yes. So I said, this has been going on for a while. Defect is involved. He has a whole history of running out the house. Police have been called. People have found him. This child needs help. Me and my wife have been trying to get this boy the proper help that he needs for the longest, but nobody seems to know what to do. So the words that came out his mouth was, well, with this happening to you, maybe you might be able to find the help that you need. But I gotta send you to
That
jail.
was so
This is what they
insensitive.
want.
That was so insensitive.
So here I am. I'm at a police precinct. Haven't even went to jail yet. I'm at a police precinct in handcuffs. Been there for. I got there around 1 o'clock in the morning. I was there from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock Sunday morning, and the whole entire time I'm saying to him, I said, "Hey, how's my son doing? I need to see my son. Y'all trying to put me in jail. I need to see my son. Oh, we can't tell
And
you go see your son."
that was that got me a little angry because I'm going like, as a father, you had the keys in a lockbox. You told him that your son got out of the house. They arrested you. You found your son hit by a vehicle. He didn't have the courtesy enough to say, well, let me allow him to go and take care of his child, and then we're going to deal with this later. They lock you up for 4 days, and your child is in a hospital, and you don't know what is happening with your child.
Nope. The only reason I was able to get information was my wife. She went down there, and I had to use one of the officers' cell phone to call my wife to figure out, hey, what's going on with him? How's he doing? Is he okay? At the time, the doctor said he was real banged up, real bad, and they didn't know what was what. So it was very concerning to me, and it was scary for me at the same time, as a father, as a parent, as a person, knowing that knowing that your child may not make it because this person got hit, because my child got hit by a car, right? And you don't know if you're gonna be able to see that child again. And of course, it got real emotional for me as I sat up in jail that Sunday morning. I couldn't do nothing until Monday, till I got a bond hearing. And the whole entire time I sat there worried. Every time I had a chance to use the payphone, I called my wife, asked her, how was he doing? What's going on? She said, well, he's doing better now. I said, thank God. And they said he's going to pull through just fine. He's fine. He's walking around and everything. I said, good. And the whole entire time waiting, when I had my bond hearing that Monday at court, judge, it was so crazy how the way everybody was looking at me, because they were bringing the report of what happened and how I got locked up in the jail. And the judge, she looked at me, and everybody was looking at me, and they're giving me this look like, why is he in jail for? So the judge, she felt sorry for what happened. She felt bad for what happened. And that judge, she got up, man, and she gave me a hug. She told me everything's gonna be all right. She said, I wish you nothing but the best, and I'm gonna get you out of here. She signed my paperwork, and that Tuesday evening, I was released. I went home. I went to go see my son in the hospital. From there, I didn't know what to do anymore at this point. Didn't know how to stop my son from leaving the house.
Before, I don't want to cut you off, because I know we still have a lot to cover, but I just want to say I applaud your courage. I applaud your courage as a father for standing up for your son. And a lot of people don't understand what we go through. I'm going to come back to you with that. I just wanted to stop for me. And let me tell you, just to give you a bit of comfort, to tell you what our viewers are saying, okay? So somebody asked, Martha asked, what's the story? Well, she told me don't cut you off, but sometimes I have to chip in. And she said the fax was involved, of course. She said, I feel your pain. How old is your child now? And if you want to answer that, you can.
Yeah. So right now, my child is he's 11 years old. He'll be 12 in August of this year.
Okay, great. So Martha said, sending love. And she said, why did they arrest you? Of course, you answered that. And Mel Paul, she's also an autism mom. She said, I went through the same thing. And yes, it's crazy. And I said, well, this is sad. Um, Martha tell me don't cry, have her cried, and she have no autistic child. And people are just sending love, love. Mel said that's crazy. And that's I'm telling you. So at that point, let's get back to what you were saying. At that point, you did not
Yes.
know what to do anymore. So, what was your next step? And I'm not going to cut you off. What was your next step? Because I know it's difficult for you. And I have to intercede sometimes because I know I have to give you a breath. I have to ask questions as well. But I want you to
Yes.
continue. At that point, you didn't know what to do. So, what was your next step?
Well, so with my next steps, and because of the situation that I was in, because I went to jail, and because um, to this day, I'm still waiting for my first court date. I haven't got my first court date yet. No,
So, they still
no,
have
I
you.
have not. Yeah, yeah.
Whew,
Yeah.
how has that? How is your son doing now?
So my son is doing good, right? So to what when all that happened back in February of last year, right? Um, DFAX and me and my wife, we were working strong to try to put him in a autism facility, and I know DFAX was saying that the they don't really have the proper facility or sources here in Georgia. And I, after doing some research, I finally understood what they were saying. The facilities here in Georgia, from what I was learning, these are all short-term facilities, right? And also keep in mind, my son has been to uh, two or three of these facilities already, right here in Georgia, and they didn't really do a good job. They did psych evaluations on him. They said, "Oh, we're going to try this medication right here," but they did not spend the proper time to actually work with him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was also told that the doctors that say that they are certified in dealing with autism, again, they don't really have the proper resources of dealing with certain levels of autism, right? With my son being high function, I think it was a little bit more difficult and hard for them to actually try to see what he really needed, right? Even with the autism center that he had got into about 3 years ago, that was, working with him, trying out different medication, that still was not helping, right? Um, so they said he needs to go to the facility that's called Nexus, that's in Texas, and it's a autism school, and they have some of the best doctors there that specialize in autism. So he
Mm-hmm.
left in June, and he's to this day he's still down there. Right, it's a long term facility.
Mm-hmm.
I do go out there and I do see my son, and it has been a life change for him. I can say he is doing a lot more better. And so let's also keep in mind, right? My son, before he went to the facility in Texas called Nexus, he could not talk. Right? Tried different ways of communicating with him, it just wouldn't work. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So since Nexus has been dealing with him, he is now starting to talk now, little by little, and he is using a yes, and he is using a communication device to communicate.
Any win for any parent, any small step is a win. Because a lot of people don't
Yes.
understand how, AJ, how difficult it is for us as parents raising a child with a different ability. I call it a different ability. It is hard, and it takes, you know, they say raising a child with a disability with autism is the stress level compared to it is like a soldier in a battlefield,
Yes.
especially when the child is non-verbal. And
Yes.
I can relate. I can relate. I remember one time I didn't get arrested. That would have been bad. But I remember one time. Yeah, that's true. Mel said they don't understand if they don't have a child on the spectrum. Exactly. Some people think they know, but they don't understand, you know? I remember one
Oh yeah.
time I Noah was hell bent on getting out of the house and going to the street. And no matter what I told him, he was not listening to me. He was not hearing me. And you know, when they are that, they are very, very strong. They are very strong.
Yes.
It's like they have an extra
Yes.
strength. And
Super strength. Yes.
yes. And you know, me being a woman, although I know I lift up weights and everything, so I'm strong, but I don't know. And I was trying to hold him back, and he was going in the streets. He took out his clothes, he took out his pants, he took out his shoes, everything. And I'm going like, Noah, please. And I'm trying to calm him down. I'm trying to, and let me tell you, AJ, somebody saw me because you know we have to. There's a way we give them the bear hug at one point. You know, I don't know if you know about the bear hug, so that it
Yeah.
could bring them
Oh
and
yeah.
subdue them, not to hurt them, but to calm them. So I gave him the bear hug. This boy got out of the bear hug. You hear me? And somebody saw me trying to restrain him and try to calm him down. And you know, they called the police on me. They called the police. And I didn't know at the time. So I was trying to really try to take him back to the house. I was almost close to the house. When I saw the cops coming, two cop cars coming, I'm going, oh my gosh. And so,
Mm,
you know, when he come out of the car, now he was a very nice man, I could see that. But you know, when they don't know, they have not been taught. So he came out with
right.
his hand on his on his piece, on his gun. And I'm going like, oh
Uh
my
huh.
God. I had to pray, quick prayer, Jehovah, please, God, please help me that they wouldn't shoot any of us here. Because no one was fussing. So I had to tell him the first thing I said to him, I said, officer. He said, what's happening? And we got a call of a disturbance that somebody was his. I said, officer, my child has autism and he's trying to run out of the house. And I'm trying to subdue him, but and you know, the officer was so empathetic. Up to this, the officer and I are friends. He was so empathetic. He talked to Noah. He tried to calm him down, and then he said, after he calmed him down, he saw how drained I was, and then he said, "Mom, I am so sorry."
Mm,
And then a day after that, I was able to calm Noah, put Noah in the car, in the house. He calmed down. The officer tell him, I'll come back and I'll give you a ride in the cop car. So he likes cars. So the officer came back and then he gave him a ride in the car. But that
okay.
experience I would never forget.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't understand. They will look at your child and they'll judge you as a parent. You're not doing a good job. And I wonder what people, when autism is on the rise and more children are having with autism, what are people thinking now? Were we crazy? Were we bad parents? No, we're not.
No.
No, we're not. Yeah, Mel said once they calm down and they realize what they are putting us through, they start feeling guilty and beating themselves up. Yes. So Noah saw me crying and then he said, mom is sad. Mom is crying.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So but there's so much I want to ask you. I do want to ask you this though. How has this affected you mentally, and how has it affected your relationships? Your relationship.
Well,
Mentally first.
right. So mentally, right, with with everything that was going on over the years from 2017 all the way up to 2004, 2024, the definition of mental, I can't even call it. I was to the point where I was walking on eggshells. I was to the point where I was walking around like a zombie. And the reason why I say that is because like every day I was probably getting about an hour or two of sleep a night, because my son's sleep pattern was all over. He might go to bed and he's up in the next 2 hours, um, like a child on sugar. And it's 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock midnight. I got to be to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I am tired. So it, and not even that. There were also times that he would sleep all through the night, but I would not get the proper rest I need because I was so scared to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I would be afraid that my son might find a way to get out the house in the middle of the night. So it was
Now,
kind of like I. Mhm.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So it was kind of like it was kind of like I was sleeping like with one eye open and one eye closed, not getting the proper rest that your body really needs to recharge.
Yes. Mel said that's exactly how I was. I wasn't sleeping. I had to do the two-way lock in the house and have her sleeping in my room. After the incident that happened to me with the police, do you know that the police encouraged me to get a camera and a deadbolt? And so
Yep.
that means without the key, that door wouldn't open. And so to this day, I have a deadbolt on my door. He don't run
Yeah.
away anymore. He doesn't
Right.
run away anymore.
And
Whew.
and and it's crazy you talking about deadbolts, right? When my son first started to run out the house, they said padlock the door, and I padlocked the door. He found a way to get into my lockbox. Keep in mind, I kept the padlock key separate from the door key. I had two different lock boxes, and he always found a way to get them both. He knew which key it was and everything,
They know.
and out the door he went. And me and my wife, we call him Houdini. He pulled a Houdini out the hat.
So you can be any lock.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh,
So
Albert. So you had a Houdini on your hands, eh? We're laughing, but
every it was
we have go ahead. We have to take the little humor because it is so stressful on us autistic parents. It is.
yes, yes. Every so I remember every night when I tell my son to get in the bed, he'll get in the bed, and I was like, "Go to bed, good night, Houdini." And I just call him Houdini because I know he's up to something. If he's not trying to get out the house, he's up to something. He's trying to sneak around and try to do something. And
Yes.
he- yeah, you
So
know,
how was that? How
my
was that? I know when we spoke, you revealed something to me. And if you're not, like I said, if you are not comfortable talking about
mhm.
it, you don't have to. Okay, but I am going to ask a question. So Mel said that's exactly how she was, and then Mel said because we're scared we are walking the same journey. So yes, and that's how my house was for years. And my first said respect to autism parents. Oh my gosh. What side of the spectrum is your son on? May I ask you what type of spectrum is your son on?
oh, Spectrum.
Yeah, what side on it of the spectrum is he on?
like what level of autism he is.
Mhm. Yeah.
That well, actually, you know, the good question. Um, so to, to answer that, I really don't know. I
Hmm.
really don't know what spectrum he is on. The only
Hmm.
thing I can say about my son that when they diagnosed him as high functioning autism, and
Hmm.
he has ADHD, and he
Oh.
elopes.
So now here's the thing, huh? When they have the ADHD and the autism together, it makes it even more difficult.
Yes,
And my son, when he was diagnosed, he was from moderate to severe. And I've told you over the years, I've seen my Noah that is so quiet now. I couldn't keep glass on my counter. He would just take his hand when he get mad and just take his hand and just break everything, every glass that was on my counter. He would throw chairs. He broke TVs, all kind of stuff already. At least he didn't bring down
yes.
the entire house.
Uh,
But oh, I am so sorry that as an autistic parent to one another, I feel your pain. And for all those autism parents who are on here, I feel your pain. We feel your pain. We understand. We may not be in this. We have our children may not be the same. The word I'm trying to say, the same level on the spectrum, but it's on the spectrum regardless because no child with autism is the same. Noah has ADHD. He has autism and he has a condition called hyperlexia. So that's still on the spectrum. He has a higher than normal ability to understand letters and numbers rather than spoken word. And I'm telling you, there are times I just have to leave Noah because I can't handle him. And I'm a single parent. So there are times I just have to leave him, close myself in my room, in my bathroom, because he would bang open that door, go in my bathroom and just lock myself in my bathroom and just stay there until he calms down because I can't handle him. There was a time he got so aggressive in school, the teachers were like, they were trying to take action against me, and I stood up. So, for all those autism parents out there, we understand, we feel your pain, and we want you to come up here and tell your story. And there's another person I want to come. She's a mom, and I just haven't gotten to her yet. But I just wanted. I know your schedule is busy, and so I wanted to take the opportunity to get you as soon as possible so that you could go to work. So how has that affected your relationship with your spouse, or how has that affected you on the whole?
uh, well, I will say this, right? It has affected my relationship between me and my wife a lot, right? Um, and again, you know, when we first got married, we were really close. We were like super, super close, super, super tight. Couldn't even get away from each other, right? But that's how the way it is, right? When you become what you call newlyweds, right?
Yeah.
Um, the but you know, and we were still close even after the years, right? Even after my son was diagnosed with autism, it was still fine, right? But what happened was, you know, when his behavior had changed and when it started to get out of control, that's when we started to grow apart from each other, right? We had a
Yeah.
lot going on and everything. We had a lot of stuff. We had a lot of stuff going on. We had a lot of stuff going on and everything. And you know, our main focus was to you know, see about our son, try to get the help that he properly needs, right? You know, even though that our relationship was not the same no more, we grew relationship wise, we grew far apart from each other. Now, are we still on good terms? Are we good friends? Yes, we are. right?
And
But
I could
because of that,
imagine. Go
uh,
ahead. I was saying I could imagine
but because
how I could imagine how that affected her as well as a mother to see your child, in a place where you cannot help him. And I'm sure her being around children with autism before you guys got married and before you had your son, that must have been a lot for her. And
yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And again, I wish she was here to speak on her behalf. I tried to get her
mhm,
on this, podcast show, but she said she didn't want to do it because, she's very emotional of what happened over the years. She didn't want to talk about it. But to speak on her behalf, um, for her, yes, it was hard for her as a parent, as a mother,
mhm,
and I give it to my wife. I give it to my wife. She has spent more time with my son than I have, right? Only because, I work a lot, right? She
mhm,
was the stay at home parent. So she went through a lot with my son,
mhm,
mentally and physically, to the point where he got real bad for her. Her blood pressure was going up. They put her on blood pressure medication, and she was going to the hospital a lot because she was constantly having chest pains, panic attacks, and she was blacking out a lot because her stress level was that high. And the only thing that I ask myself every day, what can I do? How can we make this better for her, for me, for my daughter? And I remember hearing doctors. I remember hearing doctors when he turns 18 years old, you're going to take care of him for the rest of your life. And this is what I kept hearing. And in the back of my mind, I said, I don't know if I can keep doing this with the continuous behavior and aggression that's going on. Every day, my wife woke up, I woke up, and we looked at our household, right? It was to the point where we didn't even want to be in the house no more, right? Because we felt like our house was our own prison. And what I mean by that, and the reason why I say that is because that you had the padlocks on the door. And I wasn't going to say this at first, but I'm going to say it now. That way I can go ahead and make it clear. The only way for my son not to go out the window no more, we had to board up our windows. I went with burglar bars at first. That didn't help. So I had to go to Home Depot. I had to buy plywood, and I boarded up my windows. So you can imagine waking up every morning. First thing you want to do is open up the curtain and let some light in, and guess what? You see nothing but boards. Now you're feeling like, oh, I'm in prison. I'm in a asylum. That makes any person not want to not want to feel comfortable or not want to be in their household.
yes, yeah. I am so sorry. My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to your family. People don't understand. And Martha said, we send love to your wife. Yeah, Mel said people don't understand the struggles autism parents are facing. And I have somebody on here, one of my dearest friends. Her name is Tina Mingo, and she said she has an adult son with autism, and so she knows, offhand what it is like to raise a child with autism. And she said, as a parent of a child with an autistic child, I know exactly what it feels like. A lot of people don't understand how much parents have to go through. And this is the same sentiment you're going to hear with every single parent who has a child with autism. I may hear your story. I may hear Tina's story. I may hear Mel's story. But do I really comprehend, fully understand what you went through? No. I can only relate to what you went through. But you went through it. And this is where it's difficult because we try to advocate for autism for us to help people understand that that yes, you hear autism, but are you living autism? Do you really understand what it means to live with a child with autism or live with a young adult with autism? People don't understand. They don't know.
No.
Listen, I would like you to send our love from Poetry and Perspective of President, all my viewers, our love to your wife. Because when you told me that she wanted to come on, I said to you, I understand where she is because I also am learning to understand mental illness. And she's not there yet. She will have triggers. You understand? So this is not the right time for her to speak. So where she's in a state of mind where she can really be in a right state of mind to really be able to just have a calm spirit and have that space where she's okay to talk, then we can bring her on. But I would love to have her on. Listen, guys, I cannot say enough how my heart hurts for autism parents. I cannot say enough. Because before I knew, before I understood, before I lived it, and I'm still living it. Now Noah is calm. He's very calm. The only time you're gonna get mad when you take away his tablet. Already doesn't have his food and he's hungry. Like Noah's hungry. And if you don't give him food, he'll find food. But I understand. And Mel said, each of us, each one of us, our story are different and has a twist to it. Yes. So Albert, I would love to have you back on the I feel there's more that you have to tell us. We have to learn from you. I don't know what it is.
There, there is so much more. There is so much more, and again, first things first. I really appreciate you for letting me come on your podcast show and and share my story. But yes, there is so much more to tell. Right. Um, Let me say this. Right. To those that are listening. Right. To those that are listening, whether you're listening now or later on in the future, right? If you are a autism parent that is suffering, going through the same things that other autism parents are going through, and you're at a turn at your life where you don't know whether you have to turn left, turn right, look forward, look back, you're at a stalemate where you don't know what to do with your life. You're at the point in your life where you feel like you're about ready to give up on hope because you can't do nothing else for your child. If you are suffering through pain, you're going through emotional stress, mental stress, physical stress. If your son's that type of person, type of child that likes to hit when he gets angry, and I know that feeling, that's a bad feeling. I just want to let you know that you're not alone. You're not alone in this. there are several parents, autism parents, that are suffering and going through the same thing that you are. And what I want to tell you is this: if don't hold it in, don't sit right here and say, I can deal with this on my own. No, talk to somebody, reach out to somebody. I don't care if it's a stranger that you met in the streets. If you don't feel comfortable talking to somebody that you know in person, speak to a counselor,
Thank you for that, Albert.
because yeah, because
Go ahead.
not saying nothing won't get nowhere in life. As an autism parent, I can speak for my wife as well. It's hard. The years have been rough and hard. I know it's been hard on me. I go home, I gotta deal with my son. When I get up, I gotta leave my son and come to work and deal with the emotion and stress at work. Then I have to go home and deal with the emotional and stress at the house. That's hard on anybody.
For
And
a
it
long
takes
time.
real strong will
Mhm,
just to make
mhm.
it through the day.
Yes, it does. Eh,
And I just want to say that, and I just want to say this, please, please get the help. Reach out to these autism groups. Talk to them. Get as much information as possible.
Albert, thank you so much for that word of advice and that encouragement to autistic parents. And when you said that you're not alone, for a long time, I felt alone.
Yes,
For a long time, I felt alienated, like nobody understood me.
yes,
I People said, Cindy, but why didn't you have a job? I couldn't because the school was calling me. I would put Noah on the bus at 6 something in the morning. By 8 o'clock, the school is calling me, come and get Noah. They can't handle him. Maybe after I get a little sleep from not sleeping the night before, go to sleep. 12 o'clock, the school is calling me. You need to come to the school to do this. And it was difficult. I did get a few little jobs, but who kept me? Because I'm being called eh, 4 times out of 5 in the week. So for a long time, I felt alone and I wanted to give up. I wanted to give up. But when I got people like Tina who encouraged me, and I found the autism group, and I started to listen to some of the stories, and I started to learn more about my son and how to deal with him, I started to feel hopeful. And I didn't tell people, I haven't said that. At one point, I felt he didn't need me in this world because I wanted to. One of the reasons is because I said, you know what, I cannot handle this child. I'd rather leave and go and leave him on this earth. And that was one of the instances where I tried to commit suicide. I'm going like, I can't do this. And people don't understand. People just think it's just a walk in the park. They will judge you. They will say all kinds of things about you and about your child and why you know. It's almost like they become the judge, jury, and executioner of your life. And given one day, they wouldn't walk one day in your shoe, not even for 2 hours. I remember she was so loving, but I remember there was this person who said, I wanted to go to a wedding so bad, and I go like, oh my gosh, I'm always at home. I'm not doing anything. I'm always with Noah. I'm not going anywhere. And she said, I'm watching for you to go to the wedding. She wanted to help. Within an hour, she called. She said, I don't know what to do. I don't
Mm.
know. So, my friends, Albert gave you the best advice. You are not alone. And when you see parents with autistic kids, put some respect on their name. Put some respect
Yes.
on those parents. Give them, Mel
Yes.
told me, give them the flowers while they're alive. Because we do jobs, we do things, we take on a mantle that not many people will be able to take. Whew. Your story has touched me. Otherwise, I heard it before, but for me to hear you say it again, it brings back so much. And I want to thank you. And I want to bring you back. And I want us to have a
Yes.
panel with with autistic parents. And I'm going to work it out. I know I'm a busy
Okay.
woman doing stuff, but I want to bring you back. And I want to encourage you to encourage other people to come on this lab to tell their story. We are trying to bring awareness, broaden our advocacy for autism, our kids, and for those parents who are just suffering. But thank you so much. Let me see what comments you have. Mel said, AS, Aya said, I could imagine how hard it is for working parents. Yes, it is. Martha said that was very touching. Mel said, they don't understand that your kid take over your life. Your autistic child, they take over your life. And that is so true. You cannot just have
Yes.
anyone watch them. That child, I used to be at work worried and scared, and I would get a call, come pick her up. Yes, these are the things we go through, people. Our life changes drastically when our children are diagnosed with autism, and we live in it every day. The people don't understand it. So Albert, my guest, said thank you so much. They said thank you so much.
Okay.
They were educated tonight. The people understand. They really appreciate your contribution. And don't be afraid to refer people, fathers like yourself, because a lot of time, like I said, we hear from the women, we don't hear from the men. And I can see your emotions. You held it really good, and I'm proud of you. But when you have, believe it or not, sometimes it's okay to cry. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't. So, my friend,
Right.
we are going to be, we're going to be friends forever right now. I mean, I have
Yeah. Oh
because one
yeah.
thing about me, I am, when I tell you I have people in my life and I take you as my family, I'm loyal to the people that I love, very loyal. And so you become part of the autism family, and I'm going to be loyal to you. I'm going to be there when you need me. If I cannot be there, tell you today, I can't be there today. I'm not okay mentally, but I'm going to be there. Okay.
Yes.
Because sometimes I need a
Yes.
mental break. Yes, but anytime you just need to talk, Albert, anytime you just need to just vent, call me up and say, hey, I really want to talk today. And I will make time for you. Okay. But I appreciate you. I love you,
Thank
my
you.
brother. Take care of yourself, and we're gonna talk soon. And to all of you um who contributed to the show, I appreciate your contribution. Thank you so much for being here with us, and thank you for just making Albert feel loved and feel that he's understood. Okay. I'm not gonna say anything more tonight. I am an emotional wreck right now. But Albert, I'll ask you to stay a little longer because I really want to talk to you after the show. So to my resilient risers, have an amazing night. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Tina, send love, and everybody who's watching. I love you. Don't give up on yourself. Reach out to an autism parent. Let them know that you love them. Tell them, I'm thinking about you today. Maybe just sit with them. Just one day, just have a drink. I love you guys. Have a good night. And if you want to reach out to Albert, you can call me and just, give his give him some props, give him some encouragement, okay? I'll talk to you guys. Have a good night. This was Poetry and Perspective with Placide, brought to you by Rise to Prosperity, my brand, along with Cindy Sense, of course, this show. And have a good night. Thank you.